After discovering my daughter's notebook was hacked, I unexpectedly learned a life-changing truth. Sarah's heart raced as she rifled through her 12-year-old daughter's room, drawn by anguished whispers and muffled sniffs. When she stumbled upon the notebook, something inside her tightened like a vice. This colorful book, decked out with stickers and doodles, was Lily's safe haven. As Sarah opened it, tears burned in her eyes. There, between the pages, were Lily's dreams, fears, and the kind of heartfelt thoughts that only a child could pen down. But just as quickly, a cold shiver ran down her spine. She noticed the recent entries were filled with pain. Lily felt isolated. The feeling exploded in Sarah's chest as she uncovered the horrifying truth: those private words had been hacked, shared with the cruelest hands imaginable. It all made sense now. Lily's sullen silences, the way she avoided social events. This was more than an invasion of privacy, it was a heinous act of betrayal that had spiraled into relentless bullying. Whispers of loser echoed around the school, and the sacred place where her daughter poured out raw emotion was now a battleground for adolescent cruelty. As Sarah wrestled with shame and fury, she couldn't stop the tears rolling down her cheeks. She felt helpless, aching for Lily, whose vulnerable spirit lay exposed to a turbulent world. The economic divide in their suburb was evident. Wealth cloaked itself around Lily's classmate like a bubble. The repercussions of the incident felt magnified, showcasing a community torn by privilege. It didn't seem fair that the affluent still carried their kids away from responsibility while Lily endured the fallout alone. This disparity stung even deeper. Determined to confront the issue, Sarah steeled herself and reached out to the hacker's parents. The meeting was tense. Instead of accountability, she was met with lofty ideals of forgiveness wrapped in insincerity. Each platitude from them struck like daggers, making her want to scream, "What about my daughter's pain?" Guilt gnawed at her, and she worried about losing Lily to this storm of grief. She could almost feel the distance between them growing. Desperate to rally support for her daughter, Sarah stood in front of her classroom, a mix of trembling hands and fierce resolve. "Let us talk about kindness," she urged, her voice quivering. She encouraged her students to share their experiences, igniting deeper conversations. Bit by bit, the underlying stories of hurt streamed forth. It was a raw moment that stirred empathy, triggering a wave of solidarity that swept through. Just as the discussions gained momentum, Sarah learned of a remarkable change within Lily. The once withdrawn girl was channeling her pain into an anti-bullying initiative. Lily stood bravely, her quivering voice piercing through the dark, rallying classmates to make a stand. She unveiled her raw experiences, inspiring tales of resilience and courage that resounded through the hallways. The entire school rallied behind her, and before long, they were united in a powerful movement. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The narrative gained attention, catching the eye of local media. The assembly loomed on the horizon, a platform where they could speak openly about the injustices that plagued their young lives. Families packed the auditorium, and the weight of every shared experience hung thick in the air. Each story stirred awareness, igniting hope and igniting the crowd in supportive murmurs. As the assembly climaxed, Sarah's heart pounded, every word echoing like a promise in her chest. But in the depths of those triumphant connections, an unsettling question remained. Would this fleeting moment of unity dissolve into silence when faced with real-world challenges? Would they press on, or would the fragile threads of compassion fray? As Sarah's gaze met Lily's, a mix of pride, fear, and hope swirled inside her, leaving an undeniable thirst for answers. How could they sustain this momentum? The answers loomed just out of reach. The buzz of anticipation filled the air as students filed into the auditorium, their faces a mix of excitement and anxiety. Sarah sat in the front row, fingers clasped tightly in her lap, each heartbeat a reminder of the stakes involved. This wasn't just another school event, it was a chance for her daughter to shine, to reclaim her narrative. The banners promising kindness matters fluttered overhead, a colorful backdrop to the pressing emotions within Sarah's heart. Lily prepared backstage, her breaths shallow but determined. She spent countless nights putting together her speech, poring over every detail. Now, under the gaze of classmates, teachers, and parents, it was time. Sarah could see her daughter's silhouette through the curtain, a small figure radiating both courage and vulnerability. While Sarah felt pride swelling within her, a troubling thought lingered: would the sincerity of this moment hold up against the real world's harshness once the applause faded? As the principal stepped up to the microphone, the chatter quieted down, and the room fell to a hush. Sarah's eyes locked onto Lily, who was visibly shaking but resolute. With her heart racing, Sarah whispered a silent prayer for her daughter's strength. The principal's words came and went, fading into a blur. All Sarah could think about was how her little girl was about to face an audience, revealing her most intimate battles. Finally, the principal called for Lily. The audience erupted into applause, and Sarah watched as Lily walked on stage with all the poise of someone much older. Her knees were weak, but her voice rang out clear and strong. "Hello everyone, I'm Lily, and I want to talk about something that has affected me and many of you in ways we can't always see." As she spoke, the room became engulfed in an enveloping silence. Lily shared her experiences candidly, every word a powerful thread weaving through the hearts in attendance. She described the days spent hoping for a friend, the sting of loneliness, and how the words she thought were private had been twisted into weapons against her. Watching her daughter lay bare the pain was excruciating yet mesmerizing. This was the moment they'd been fighting for, a moment that dared to bring change. However, just as Lily outlined the need for understanding and empathy, a voice from the back of the auditorium interrupted. "What do you expect us to do about it?" A boy stood, arms crossed defiantly against his chest. Gasps echoed around the room, and the pulse of uncertainty rushed through Sarah. Had the unity they built been so fragile that it could fracture with just one challenge? Lily hesitated for only a moment before responding. "We start by listening, by caring. It's not about blaming anyone. It's about learning." Her voice held a confidence that belied her years. Yet, Sarah could feel a wave of discomfort wash over the crowd. Would Lily's words resonate, or would they be drowned out by the cynicism of the boy's challenge? The room seemed uneasy, whispers exchanged behind hands, and Sarah sensed division creeping in. She could almost hear her own heartbeat, thumping in rhythm with the unrest in the room. As the assembly continued, the budding tension hung in the air like a storm cloud. The question loomed: would Lily's bravery inspire a genuine change, or would the seeds of doubt seep into their newfound movement? This was a pivotal moment. Sarah's grip tightened on the edge of her seat, waiting for Lily to bridge the widening gap. Would her daughter be able to turn this confrontation into an opportunity for growth? The answer seemed to twinkle just beyond the horizon, elusive yet pulsating with potential. Could they transform the pushback into an even stronger call for kindness? The auditorium held its collective breath, fervently awaiting what was to come next. Lily took a deep breath, the words swirling inside her like a torrent of emotions. She couldn't let the doubt take root. "If we want to change things," she said, her voice steadying, "we have to start by understanding each other. Maybe that means talking to someone we never thought we would." The boy rolled his eyes, but the murmurs from nearby students suggested that at least some were listening. Sarah could feel that raw energy shift in the room, hanging like low-hanging fruit ripe for picking. Hope surged in her chest. "And you know what?" Lily continued, a new fire igniting in her eyes. "It's not just about us. Adults need it too. I've seen my mom struggle to hear what's really happening in our lives. We can bridge that gap together, moving past our differences." A small ripple of applause echoed from the far side of the auditorium. It made Sarah's heart leap, her pride for Lily amplified with every word. She locked eyes with her daughter, silently urging her on. Maybe you worry about what others think, and maybe you felt alone, but we all want to be seen, Lily said, her words tumbling out like a waterfall, flowing with sincerity. Kindness isn't just a catchphrase. It's a practice, a choice. The tension in the room began to lessen, each student reflecting on Lily's call for empathy. Even the boy's posture faltered slightly, his arms beginning to uncross. The shift was palpable, a subtle change but significant. "Let us make a pact," Lily proposed, glancing across the audience. "Let us promise to look out for one another, one simple act of kindness at a time. It doesn't have to be big. Just," she paused for effect, searching each face. "Just reach out. Be there. It may not solve everything right now, but it's a start, and it matters." A ripple of agreement stirred in the crowd. Sarah could see heads nodding, smiles breaking through. The challenge had transformed into a call for unity, and Lily's message was stitching them together like a tapestry of hope. "Thank you," Lily said finally, her voice trembling with exhaustion yet sparkling with triumph. As she turned to step down from the stage, the audience erupted into applause. Sarah's heart swelled. Her daughter had not only faced her fears but had also ignited something deeper in everyone present. But then, as the clapping echoed around them, the boy stood again, halting everyone's celebration. "Yeah, but that doesn't change what's already happened, does it?" His question cut through the applause, a stark reminder hovering over their newfound unity. "How do we deal with people who won't listen?" A hush fell over the auditorium like a blanket, the enthusiasm from moments before challenged by reality once more. Lily paused, her brow furrowing. She hadn't anticipated that. Sarah could see the flicker of uncertainty in her daughter's eyes, a moment to confront the deeper pain that had been ignored. In that silence, Sarah remembered all the difficult conversations they had fought through together. She wanted to reach out, to comfort Lily, but instead, her daughter stood firm, taking a breath that felt like the weight of the world. "I guess we pushed through," Lily responded slowly, her voice gaining strength despite the cracks underlying her brave exterior. "We stand up even if it's tough. Because that's what we've learned." As the words hung in the air, Sarah understood that this moment was just the beginning. The real battle wasn't just in sharing stories but in building a lasting community of kindness and understanding. They were just scratching the surface. What lay ahead? How could they muster the strength to uplift each other, to break through the barriers that life and even their peers had erected? With eyes glued on Lily, Sarah wondered if they could really shift the narrative beyond this assembly. The stakes had never felt higher. As the applause faded into whispers of uncertainty, Sarah realized they were heading into uncharted territory. Would the seeds of change they planted today grow into something real? Or would doubt infiltrate their aspirations? The stage was set for more than just words. It was a call to arms for healing, a challenge against apathy. How would they confront the past together in the days to come? As Lily scanned the audience, hoping to find a spark of connection, Sarah felt her own heart racing, anticipating the twists and turns waiting just around the corner. Lily stood at the edge of the stage, her heart racing. The applause washed over her like a warm wave, but the boy's question echoed in her mind, bringing with it a sense of urgency. The thrill of the moment faded slightly as uncertainty crept back in. Could they really overcome the past? The idea felt daunting, filled with heavy memories, but she had to believe in the idea of moving forward. She stepped off the stage, the buzz of the auditorium fading behind her. As students began to disperse, conversations sprang up around her like mushrooms after rain. Some were animatedly discussing what had just happened, others seemed lost in thought. Lily felt a strange mix of relief and trepidation. She launched the idea of kindness into the world, but now, what if it didn't take root? "Hey," a soft voice broke through her thoughts. It was Sarah, her eyes shining with a mixture of pride and concern. "That was incredible. Thanks, Mom." Lily smiled but noticed her mother's brow furrowed. But what if it doesn't change anything? We can't control how others react, but we can choose to act differently, Sarah replied gently. It's a journey, and every step counts. A sudden cheer came from a small group of students nearby, and Lily turned to see some of her classmates talking excitedly about starting a kindness project. It felt like a small but significant shift, like the first petals blooming in early spring. Maybe they could really change things, maybe they could show that kindness wasn't just an empty phrase. But as the crowd began to thin out, the boy from earlier, Lucas, approached them. His posture, once brimming with arrogance, now bore an air of uncertainty. Lily, he started, his voice hesitant. Can we talk? Heart pounding, Lily nodded. Sure. Sarah, sensing the need for privacy, gave Lily a supportive smile. I'll be over here, she said, stepping away yet keeping an eye on her daughter. What do you want to talk about? Lily asked, crossing her arms defensively. I didn't mean to ruin what you were doing up there, Lucas admitted, shifting from foot to foot. He paused, looking genuinely uneasy. It's hard to believe in this stuff when I've seen so many people walk over each other for years. What's to stop them from doing it again? Lily took a deep breath. I get that. I really do. I've been hurt too, you know. But if we just stand by and stay silent, nothing will ever change. You're really serious about this, huh? Lucas raised his eyebrows, studying her as if trying to decode her sincerity. Lily nodded. I mean it. This isn't just about words for me. I want to stand up for people who can't. I guess I just want to be part of something that matters. He looked at her for a moment, his eyes searching. What if I helped? I mean, if we're going to really do this, we need all kinds of people, right? The invitation hung in the air, tantalizing and heavy. Could she trust him? If you really want to help, she hesitated, chewing her bottom lip. We need to reach out to other groups too. I think the lunchroom girls are struggling to find their place and they don't get heard much. Then let us go talk to them, he suggested, nodding firmly as his confidence swelled. But what if they don't give us a chance? Lily said, a hint of doubt creeping back in. Lucas shrugged, a slight smile playing at the corners of his mouth. Well, they can't ignore us if we show up. It's worth a shot, right? As they started to move towards the lunchroom, Lily felt a new wave of determination washing over her. Maybe this was how they would begin to bridge the gaps that seemed impossible before. As she walked beside Lucas, she fought the urge to look back at her mom, who watched from a distance with a knowing smile. This was her first step into the unknown, and it felt both exhilarating and terrifying. What would happen when they faced the others? Would kindness truly be enough? Or would they encounter pushback they never anticipated? Lily's heart raced as questions swirled in her mind, but she knew one thing: they had made a start. With each step toward the lunchroom, a small flicker of hope ignited within her. The journey ahead could reshape their world, but would they be brave enough to follow through? The lunchroom buzzed with its usual chaos: jeers, laughter, the clattering of trays. Lily felt a knot of anxiety tightening in her stomach as they approached the long tables. A few heads turned their way, curiosity mixing with skepticism. She caught sight of the lunchroom girls huddled together, their laughter ringing out above the noise, but the warmth didn't touch their eyes. Do you really think they'll listen? Lily whispered to Lucas, her confidence wavering. We won't know until we try, he replied quietly, nudging her forward. As they neared the girls, Lily's determination faltered. What if they dismissed them? What if this was all for nothing? She glanced back at Sarah, catching her mom's encouraging smile, and that was enough to push her forward. Hey! Lily called, her voice sharper than she intended. The girls turned, surprise rippling through their group. What do you want? One of the girls snapped, her tone laced with a mixture of annoyance and curiosity. We want to talk, Lucas jumped in, stepping slightly ahead of Lily. About kindness and how we can make this place better together. Lily could feel the collective skepticism hanging in the air, heavy and palpable. They were used to the status quo, used to feeling overlooked. Kindness? The girl scoffed. What do you mean? Like, we should all just be nice and hold hands? Before Lily could respond, Lucas leaned in, passion igniting his tone. Listen, it's not a joke. We've all seen the bullying and the cliques. We want to start something real, a project where everyone feels acknowledged, where no one is left out. Lily's heart raced as she watched their reaction. The girls exchanged glances, and for a moment, uncertainty danced behind their eyes. Why should we care what you think? Another girl finally asked, crossing her arms. Because. Lily took a breath, digging deep for courage. Because I've been where you are. It feels like no one listens. But if we come together, if we really try, we can make this school a place where everyone has a voice. I'm tired of feeling isolated. Aren't you? The lunchroom grew quieter, the usual din fading just enough for her words to linger. She could see them processing her message, the walls they had built around their hearts beginning to crack ever so slightly. One of the girls, a quieter member of the group, spoke up. I don't know, what do you even mean by a project? Lucas shot Lily an encouraging glance. We could hold events. Initiatives to get people to connect, share their stories. We could create a space where everyone feels seen. As Lucas continued, Lily found herself getting lost in the moment. The hopes of what they could create started to feel tangible. We all know what it's like to be ignored or judged. Let us change that. For a moment, she thought they were beginning to understand. Their expressions shifted, curiosity replacing hostility. Maybe, just maybe, they were all in this together. So you're saying we band together? All of us? A girl asked, a hint of disbelief lacing her voice. Exactly, Lucas affirmed, his voice steady, full of conviction. Together, we can change how everyone feels at this school. Lily felt tears prickling at the edges of her eyes as she realized this was what it was all about: connection, understanding, compassion. But as the girls pondered over their proposal, the doubt crept back in. Would they truly move past skepticism? Would this spark of hope ignite into something real, or was it destined to flicker out? Just then, a loud laugh erupted from across the room, cutting through their moment. A group of upperclassmen threw a few taunts, and her heart dropped. The reality they faced loomed large against the backdrop of a school that thrived on drama and division. Look, let us talk later, the lead girl finally said, turning away. A chill washed over Lily as they walked back to their group, her heart heavy with uncertainty. Lucas sighed beside her, disappointment casting a shadow over his expression. Should we have pressed harder? Lily shook her head, feeling a mix of confusion and trapped hope all at once. No. We did what we could. But they're so used to shutting down. What do we do now? The clamor of the lunchroom resumed, but all she could think about was what lay ahead. Would they find a way to unite even in the face of disregard? Would the shame, the hurt, and history hold them back, or could they gather enough strength to propel forward? As Lily stepped away from the table, she felt the sting of doubt rise again. But she couldn't ignore the spark deep inside urging her onward. What would they do next? Would they let this opportunity slip or summon the courage to keep reaching for change, no matter how steep the climb? Lily walked out of the lunchroom, her pulse still racing. The noise faded behind her, but her thoughts churned louder. She felt torn between hope and despair. Behind her, Lucas kept pace. We didn't T-bomb that, did we? He asked, attempting a light-hearted smile. I don't know, Lily sighed. It felt like we were almost there. I'm not going to give up, he replied, his voice firm. Even if they walked away, we have to keep pushing. But that flicker of hope dimmed as they made their way to their next class. What if they'd spoken too soon? What if those girls were right to be skeptical? They dropped into their seats, and Lily's mind drifted. She glanced at the chalkboard, the teacher's voice was a distant hum. Instead, Lily felt drawn to a scuffed corner of her desk where she often doodled. Her thoughts drifted to the project they wanted to start and how if they succeeded, it could change everything. Later that day, Lily and Lucas gathered with Sarah in the library. Surrounded by rows of books, it felt like a safe bunker away from the lunchroom clamor. But even here, doubt seeped inside. What if we organize a meeting? Sarah suggested, pulling out her notebook. We could invite everyone. People might be more open if they feel like it's a real event. Lily considered this. A meeting could give everyone a platform, a chance to voice their thoughts. But the fear of rejection clung to her. Do you think anyone would come? Of course. Lucas chimed in. If we promote it right, people will show up. There are a lot of us who want something different. The idea sat heavy but hopeful between them, bursting with potential. They started brainstorming ideas for their meeting, feeding off one another's enthusiasm. But with every suggestion, a nagging worry lingered at the back of Lily's mind. What if the bullies found out? What if they turned the meeting into an opportunity for ridicule instead? As if reading her thoughts, Sarah spoke softly, Lily, we can't let fear rule us. Change only happens when we challenge that fear. With that simple statement, a small fire ignited within Lily. You're right. We can't let them control how we feel or what we want to do. But it needs to be bigger than just us. Exactly, Lucas said, leaning forward, his eyes lighting up. Let us involve everyone, not just the girls at lunch. We can ask students from different groups to share their experiences. The more voices we have, the stronger we'll be. Lily nodded, her spirit lifting slightly. They needed that connection, that unity. But would people really be brave enough to stand up together? After school, as they walked home, Lily plugged that idea into her mind. The thought of gathering students, of creating a space for honesty and vulnerability, made her heart race. Was it really possible? That evening, as she sat on her bed, she pulled out her notebook. She began jotting down notes and ideas, midnight serving as her quiet companion. Suddenly, a notification on her phone pinged a message from one of the girls they had spoken to in the lunchroom. Her heart raced again. Was this a good sign or trouble? It read, I've been thinking about what you said, let us talk. I have some ideas. And with that simple message, everything shifted. Anxiety morphed into determination. What could this mean for their project? Would they finally have a breakthrough, or was this just a momentary spark? As excitement buzzed through her veins, a smile formed on Lily's face. The next day would be pivotal. But would it forward their mission, or would it deepen their struggle? Lily woke up the next morning with a mix of excitement and dread. The sunlight streamed through her window, illuminating the notes scattered across her desk. She had spent the night writing down ideas for the meeting, but now all she could think of was that message. What ideas could that girl possibly have? She rushed through breakfast, her mind racing as she replayed the previous day's events. Each bite felt heavy, the delicious smell of pancakes overshadowed by anxiety. What if the girl wanted to sabotage their efforts? What if they were setting themselves up for failure? Are you okay? Her mom asked, noticing Lily's distracted demeanor. Yeah, just a little nervous about school, Lily replied, trying to sound casual. As she left the house, her phone buzzed again. Another message. She hesitated, bracing herself for disappointment, but it was from the same girl. Meet me at the park after school. I really think we could make this work. Lily's heart raced. The park? That felt safer. Away from the school's prying eyes, away from the judgment. Hope began to flicker again. Maybe this could be the breakthrough they needed. When the final bell rang, Lily's legs felt like jelly as she walked towards the park. Lucas and Sarah awaited her at the school entrance, their faces painted with anticipation. Did you hear back from her? Lucas asked. Yeah, we're meeting at the park later, Lily answered, the words tumbling out before she could stop them. You're going, right? Sarah prompted, her eyes gleaming. Lily paused, her heart battling with her mind. What if it doesn't go well? What if she is just another bully in disguise? But what if it does go well? Lucas urged, his enthusiasm infectious. The rhythm of their rallying encouragement propelled her forward. She nodded, her resolve beginning to solidify. As they headed to the park, the air buzzed with potential. Once there, they found a quiet corner beneath an old oak tree, sunlight filtering down like shining stars. Minutes felt like hours. Just as doubt threatened to swallow her whole, she spotted a familiar figure approaching. The girl from lunch, Megan, trailed by two of her friends. Anxiety squeezed Lily's chest. Would they be as welcoming as they seemed? Hey! Sorry I'm late, Megan called out, her smile genuine but nervous. It's fine, Lily replied, forcing a smile of her own. You said you had ideas? They all settled down, the initial tension slowly ebbing away as Megan shared her thoughts. There was something powerful about her courage, the way she spoke about her own experiences with bullying, how she felt unheard. As she opened up, both Lily and Lucas listened intently, feeling the weight of every word. Suddenly, a voice cut through the tranquil atmosphere, harsh and biting. What are you losers doing? One of the boys from their school shouted, approaching with a couple of friends. Lily's heart sank. There, right before her, stood the very intimidation they feared. The laughter erupted, drowning out the hopes Megan had just expressed. For a moment, everything threatened to crumble. But amidst the laughter and taunts, Lily saw Megan's face, a flicker of defiance shining through the fear. Something within Lily ignited a fire fueled by anger and determination. Enough, she shouted, stepping forward. The air went thick with surprise, and silence fell over the group. What had just happened? Would their mission shatter with a fear-filled moment, or was this the chance to transform the situation into something bigger? Lily's heart raced, the moment hanging in the balance. Would this unexpected confrontation ignite their spark, or leave them shattered in the face of adversity? Lily stood firm, her voice steady against the mockery. The laughter faded into a disquiet hush, and for the first time, she felt like the ground beneath her feet was solid. The boys who had laughingly approached now wore expressions ranging from confusion to embarrassment. It felt as if the air had shifted, but the tension still hung heavy. What did you say? One of the boys scoffed, trying to regain his lost bravado. Lily took a deep breath. You think this is funny? You think making fun of people makes you strong? It doesn't. It just shows how weak you really are. Her words hung in the air like a challenge. Megan, sensing the moment, stepped up beside Lily. We're not going to let you bully us anymore. It's time for things to change. The defiance in her eyes sparked something in the others, an echo of bravery rippling through the gathered group. Lucas and Sarah exchanged glances, surprised and encouraged by the rising cadence of voices standing against the tide. The boys tensed, the sharpness of their laughter dulled by an unexpected uncertainty. One of them shifted uncomfortably, avoiding eye contact. For a moment, it felt like the whole park was holding its breath, watching to see how this would play out. Lily felt a rush of adrenaline. The heat of the moment filled her with a sense of purpose she hadn't anticipated. You may think you're powerful when you pick on others, but true strength is in lifting people up, not tearing them down. Suddenly, one of Megan's friends joined in, yeah. We're done being scared. Her voice was fierce and earnest, adding fuel to the unfolding movement. Lily glanced around at her friends, their expressions mirroring determination, and she felt a sense of unity blooming around her. They were in this together. With a few murmurs of agreement and nods from the bystanders, a ripple of support spread. The boys who had sneered moments ago seemed less confident, their laughter silenced. The leader of the group hesitated, glancing between Lily and Megan. Whatever, he muttered, his bravado obviously waning. He motioned for his friends to follow and they started backing away, mumbling curses under their breath. But the power they once held was fractured, leaving them grasping at shadows. "I can't believe you just did that," Sarah exclaimed as the tension lifted, her eyes shining with admiration. Lily wiped her sweat-drenched palms against her jeans, trying to ignore the tremble in her hands. "Neither can I," she replied, the weight of the moment crashing into her in waves of disbelief and relief. Megan's eyes sparkled with unshed tears, gratitude and respect flooding her expression. "You're really brave, Lily. I never would have said something like that." "It wasn't bravery," Lily countered softly. It was time." The park seemed to breathe with them, the leaves rustling approvingly as the sun dipped lower in the sky. The group started to gather more comfortably around each other, each face illuminated by newfound hope. "What now?" Lucas asked, an infectious excitement brewing in his voice. Lily hesitated. They had just faced down fear together, but it was clear this was only the beginning. "Now we plan," she said, a smile breaking through her earlier tension. "We can do something real. Something that lasts." But as they began discussing ideas, Lily's mind raced ahead, weaving together thoughts and visions for how they could turn this spark into a full blaze of support for others like them. Yet there was still that nagging worry lingering at the edges of her mind. Would the boys return? And what if other students felt the same way they had? As the conversation flowed around her, Lily couldn't shake the feeling that their real battle was just beginning. What would happen if their united front broke at the first sign of trouble? With determination igniting within her, Lily realized, they needed a plan not just for today, but for everything that lay ahead. In that moment, she understood that the challenge ahead wasn't merely about facing bullies anymore. It was about establishing something greater. A movement that clung to compassion and strength. And as the sun faded into twilight, her resolve hardened. The road forward was uncertain, but one thing was sure: they would face it together. But would they be strong enough to withstand the storm that loomed on the horizon? The group lingered in the park for a while longer, the air thick with the remnants of their brave confrontation. Lily stood at the center of a circle formed by her friends, their faces flushed with excitement. They shared ideas, some silly, others profound, all infused with a sense of invincible solidarity. This was new territory for all of them. "I was thinking," Lucas said, scratching his head, "what if we start a club or a group? Something where we can support each other and anyone else who feels alone." His enthusiasm was contagious, and the others nodded vigorously. "Yes," Sarah chimed in. "We could host meetings and create a safe space at school. It'll show everyone that we're not afraid to stand up and speak out." Lily felt her heart swell with pride for her friends. They had transformed from hesitant onlookers to passionate changemakers overnight. "That's an amazing idea," she exclaimed. "But we need a name. Something that captures what we're about." "How about the Unity Project?" Megan suggested, her eyes gleaming with creative energy. "It sounds powerful. It's about bringing people together." Lily smiled at the suggestion, but the echo of their earlier confrontation lingered in her mind. "I love that," she replied, "but we should brainstorm more ideas. The last thing we want is to turn into something we can't sustain, you know." Just then, a rustling nearby caught their attention. A figure emerged from behind a tree, a girl Lily recognized as Ella. Ella was shy and kept to herself. She had often been a target of the same boys Lily had just confronted. Watching her take hesitant steps toward their group, Lily understood the unspoken message hanging in the air: hope. Eager curiosity flickered in Lily's chest. "Ella! Come join us!" she called out. The girl froze, her eyes wide but uncertain. I don't want to interrupt," she stammered. "Please don't be shy," Megan encouraged, gesturing for her to come forward. "We just stood up to those bullies, and now we're planning something awesome." Ella took a small step closer, visibly relaxing. You really stood up to them?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Lily nodded, a quick pulse of determination surging through her. Yeah, we did. And we want to keep standing together. We're starting a group where everyone can join and feel safe. The corners of Ella's mouth twitched into a tentative smile, and for a moment, it felt like a light extinguished by years of bullying began to flicker back to life. I'd like to be a part of that, she said softly. Then you're in, Lucas replied with bright enthusiasm. The more, the better. As the warmth of inclusion spread among them, Lily felt an overwhelming mix of gratitude and responsibility. They were building something bigger than themselves, a sanctuary, a movement, a vision for a better tomorrow. But in this burgeoning community, was there a chance the challenges could become too great? While laughter rippled through their group now, doubts intertwined with that joy. Could they really maintain this new sense of unity? And were they truly prepared to face whatever would come next? As they dove into planning, sharing ideas and potential activities, a shadow flickered at the edge of Lily's peripheral vision. It was one of the boys from earlier, watching from a distance, eyes dark and unreadable. Her heart sank, but instead of fear, a new resolve solidified within her. They were worth fighting for. Let us make our first meeting tomorrow. It's time to show everyone that we're not going to back down, Lily declared, her voice firm. And with those words, the thread of uncertainty was replaced by an anchor of hope. But even as they celebrated their newfound direction, the question loomed large: how would they react when the boys returned? Would their courage hold strong against the inevitable misunderstandings that lay ahead? The next day dawned bright and hopeful. Lily woke up feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. This was the day they would finally launch the Unity project. She could hardly sit still as she got ready for school, her thoughts whirling with images of what could be. As she arrived at school, the hallways were filled with chatter and laughter. Her heart raced as she approached the auditorium, where the inaugural meeting would take place. She glanced at Sarah, who gave her a reassuring smile, signaling that everything would be okay. When the bell rang, Lily saw her friends gathering at the entrance, buzzing with anticipation. Lucas was setting up chairs, Megan was hanging a banner, and Ella looked tentatively hopeful among the group. We can do this, Ella said, her eyes alight with a newfound sense of belonging. The energy was palpable. This was going to be the beginning of something great. They spent a few moments discussing their approach. Let us start with an icebreaker, Lucas suggested, his enthusiasm infectious. Everyone can share one thing that makes them special. The room began to fill with students, some curious and others skeptical, but all eyes eventually turned to Lily. She felt a flutter of nerves but steadied herself. This was their moment. As the last student trickled in, Sarah stood by the door, giving a nod to Lily, who took a deep breath and stepped forward. Hi, everyone. Thank you all for coming today. We're really excited to get this project started. Suddenly, the door swung open, and in walked the boys from the park. The atmosphere shifted instantly. Laughter bubbled as one of them called out, "What is this, another loser meeting?" The jeers rippled through the crowd, a loud reminder of the battle they were all trying to navigate. Lily's heart sank, but she steadied herself, remembering the strength they'd built together. This is about starting a conversation, she said, her voice carrying above the noise. You're welcome to join if you're interested in making things better. Her words hung in the air, an echo of bravery in the face of adversity. The bullies exchanged glances, uncertainty flickering across their faces. They weren't used to being challenged. Yeah, right. Who do you want to join a bunch of losers? One of them scoffed, yet he didn't leave. Maybe it starts with you, Megan shot back, surprising even herself. Why not try something new instead of tearing people down? The room grew quieter, anticipation thickening the air. Their defiance had started to resonate. Lily glanced at her friends and saw the courage reflected in their eyes. This was their time to stand strong. With each hesitant step, a ripple of empowerment flowed through the gathered crowd. More students began to share their stories of struggles and triumphs, creating a tapestry of shared experiences. Lily felt inspired as she watched classmates open up, creating an exquisite bond of trust. The excitement of connection enveloped them, and the classroom vibrated with hope. Ella shared how she often felt invisible, but today she felt seen among them. Lucas spoke up about how he had struggled to fit in but found his place here. As the meeting progressed, the boys were gradually drawn in, their bravado waning. One of them raised an uneasy hand. What if we want to be part of this? The question echoed with a sincerity that signaled a shift. Then you're welcome to join, Lily replied, a smile softening her features. The unexpected offer hung in the air, creating shockwaves of realization. Together, they could reshape what this meant. Maybe those who had acted out of uncertainty were simply lost themselves and needed the same understanding they had found. The laughter and camaraderie grew, empowering not just the initiators but the faces that once seemed antagonistic. It was as if the barriers that separated them were beginning to dissolve. But how would they sustain it? As the meeting wrapped up, the boys stayed, exchanging hesitant smiles with their erstwhile foes. We can at least try to understand where you're coming from, one of them said. Surprising everyone. Lily felt the storm in her heart quieting. That's all we ask, she replied, her voice steady and filled with hope. As the students began exchanging contact information and ideas for future meetings, an unshakable feeling of unity filled the room. Let us show each other what kindness truly is. Lily exclaimed, heart racing with possibility. They made plans to continue meeting, not just for themselves but to invite others in their school. They agreed that change was a journey, and this would just be the first step. That night as Lily lay in bed, a smile crept across her face. They had faced their fears and taken on challenges together. They were no longer mere dreamers but active participants in their own narrative. But as she drifted off to sleep, she felt the weight of responsibility. They needed to keep this momentum going, face any pushback, and turn their small victories into lasting change. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but one thing was certain: together, they could write the next chapter of their story not just for themselves but for everyone who longed to be seen and heard. So they would rise, united and determined. That was the promise they made to nurture a culture of kindness and understanding, come what may. And with that promise, Lily finally allowed herself to dream of a day when kindness would prevail and each voice would be carried fiercely on the winds of change. Now is the time for you to take action. You need to subscribe now to our channel so you don't miss out on the next exclusive stories that can inspire your transformation. Hit that like button now to help us feed the algorithm and reach more hearts. Comment below and share your thoughts and feelings about this incredible journey. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your support is vital, and only true fans understand its importance.